Last year, I moved in with my boyfriend and his dad. My boyfriend and I were in a long-distance relationship for a few years, and I moved across the country to be with him after I finished graduate school. Due to such a considerable distance, I opted to sell my car and buy a new one after moving. When I did this, my boyfriend helped me out by loaning me some money to help pay down the payment, but I've since paid him back. Last week, my boyfriend's older sister, who lives in another state, visited and stayed in the house with us. This was my first time meeting her, and I thought she was very nice, but I didn't get to know her well. 2 days ago, my boyfriend and I were out running errands together, and his sister called him to ask when we would be back so she could borrow his car to go hang out with her friends in a town about an hour away. He told her it would be a while, and she then asked if it was okay to borrow my car. My boyfriend asked me, and I told him I was uncomfortable with that and to tell her no. My boyfriend did tell her no. I heard the entire conversation. My boyfriend and I got home a few hours later, and my car was gone. I was shocked, and my boyfriend was confused. When we entered the house, his dad informed us that he had given my boyfriend's sister the spare key to my car that was in the lockbox because she said she needed to go somewhere. My boyfriend told him that she asked to drive my car and that we had told her no, so he didn't understand why she was allowed to take it. And his dad said that since my boyfriend helped pay for the car, it therefore was partially his, which meant his sister had the right to drive it as well. I was absolutely livid, and I couldn't believe that anyone would do something like this. My name is the only one on the title, insurance, etc., as I'm the sole owner. My boyfriend told his dad to call her back, to bring my car back immediately, and she said she would be home soon. Well, after 2 hours, I called the police. I reported my car stolen because I was worried that if it got damaged, I'd be forced to pay for the repairs, even though it wasn't my fault. My boyfriend's dad and sister were angry about this, and they accused me of trying to get them arrested. They're now demanding that I apologize to them and tell the police it was all a misunderstanding. Still, I don't want to, because they've tried to take advantage of me. My boyfriend agrees with me, but he even said calling the police to report the car stolen may have been too far. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Screw him. It's funny how the thing that goes too far is always the thing that works. It wasn't a misunderstanding. She straight up stole your car. If she had gotten arrested, she'd have no one to blame but herself. Also, considering what an idiot your boyfriend's dad is, you should probably look into moving out as soon as possible. I wouldn't be surprised if OP is asked to leave soon. I'd wager the only reason she hasn't been asked to already is they think she'd be less likely to drop the matter with the police. And even if she does, they might still ask her to leave. And OP, be aware that, in the area I'm in, you could be evicted by public enforcement immediately because your tenancy counts as boarding, assuming you share a kitchen with the owners. So don't assume you'll have 30 days to figure something out. Look into eviction rules for where you're living and plan accordingly. And be careful around the father's logic, both of his leaps, that by helping you pay, your boyfriend owns it, and that if your boyfriend owns something, his sister also has a right to it, aren't good signs for a future life with him involved. The mental gymnastics alone to justify giving away the keys to someone else's car is astounding. Unpopular opinion, but everyone's the idiot here. Of course, she shouldn't have taken your car when you said no, and that's that. They have zero ownership over it and zero entitlement. But is this the hill you want to die on? They gave you a roof over your head, helped you buy the car, but you were not using it. You haven't indicated any reason to believe your boyfriend's sister would damage your car. If you see yourself being with this guy forever, you must consider your battles with his family too. Yeah, you save money living with your parents because you pay for your mental health. You are the idiot. You knew the car wasn't stolen. It was with your boyfriend's sister. So calling the police like that is a false report. You were angry and wanted to prove a point. You proved it, and now you must live with it. OP, I just want to be nosy. What's your plan? Because you know you're getting kicked out after this, right? Update. Am I the idiot for calling the police on my boyfriend's family? I really appreciate every single response. However, I want to address a few different things. I did not call 911 or emergency services. I called the police department directly through their non-emergency line to ask to file a police report. They said they'd send someone, and by the time the police officer arrived at our home, his sister had been back for about 30 minutes. My car was not damaged and everything on it was fine. So I explained the situation to the officer, and he asked if I wanted to press charges, and I said no. The sole reason I wanted to file a police report was in case something on my car was damaged. Since it wasn't, I believe taking it further was unnecessary. The police officer talked to his sister and left. She won't be getting arrested, charged, etc. However, his dad and sister still insist I've tried to have them arrested, which is why they're demanding an apology. I've also seen a lot of comments asking me why I didn't want her to use my car, and the simple answer is that I don't know her. We had only just met, and I simply felt uncomfortable giving my car to someone I didn't know well. Of course, people are calling me selfish for that, and everyone is entitled to their opinion, but honestly, I disagree. Further, I have both my keys now. I will make sure no one besides my boyfriend or I can ever get them again. Consider that lesson learned. Also, for everyone advising me to move out, my boyfriend and I have discussed it. We're currently searching for an apartment we can move into within the next few weeks. My boyfriend asked his dad if he'd be kicking us out, and his dad told him he wouldn't, but we both aren't really willing to take his word on this. I really appreciate everyone who offered kind words and advice. Some of you even left comments that were able to make me laugh about the situation, which I really appreciate as well. So thank you. My 27 male, wife 24, and I are expecting our first baby. I always expected to have a boy because my entire family is a boy family. I have 3 brothers, and my dad has 2 brothers as well. All my uncles also have sons. An older cousin of mine has 2 kids. They're both boys as well. So naturally, I expected a boy. Since the first minute we found out my wife was pregnant, I've always referred to the baby as he, son, etc. My wife was annoyed by me and said we don't know for sure if it's going to be a boy, and I always brought up my family history on why it is a boy and how I'm sure. My wife wanted a girl, but she always said, I want a girl, but at the end of the day, I want a healthy baby. I understood that, but still couldn't wrap my head around having a daughter. Growing up, I was always prepared to be a boy dad. So, gender reveal party happens. Everyone's filming the reveal, and there it is, pink reveal. I couldn't believe it. I was in shock, and my heart dropped to my stomach. I was so disappointed that my wife came to hug me, and I pushed her away because I needed to gather myself. My wife is upset at me, barely talks to me, and says I acted like a child, and now I ruined the moment. She said we won't even be able to share that moment with our daughter in the future because I'm acting like an idiot. Her friends and family all think I'm an idiot for my reaction. My family, on the other hand, believes I should ignore negative feedback and that gender disappointment is real, and they're as shocked as I am. They say I'm entitled to my negative feelings, which doesn't make me an idiot. So, am I an idiot or not here? Gender disappointment is a BS term created to make closed-minded people who believe in outdated gender stereotypes feel better. If you're having a child, your priority should be that they're healthy and happy, not what genitals they're born with. You're so stuck on being a boy dad that it probably didn't even occur to you that even if you had a son, that doesn't mean he'll want to do all the boy things you're dreaming of. You are the idiot. OP acts like he has to carry on a royal line to protect his kingdom from Spain and France. I feel so bad for OP's wife. She's carrying around this man's baby, and he dares to push her away at a gender reveal party because he's so hung up on his own BS. Even in this post, he never stops to consider how his actions hurt her. And now his family's enabling him by telling him that's okay. Gross. Growing up, I was always prepared to be a boy dad. Summing up, you grew up to be a terrible, immature person. Children should be loved unconditionally. Their gender doesn't matter. You're not ready to be a parent. I feel for your wife. Not only is she pregnant with her first child, she also has a baby for a partner. I, 24 female, felt a strong desire to become a zookeeper about halfway through college. I went in not really knowing what I wanted to do with my life. Still, after attending a zookeeper guest talk put on by one of the clubs and talking to them and thinking about it more, I thought I finally found something I could be happy doing with my life. It was too late to switch my major though. I had already accepted a different internship that summer. And with how competitive the zoo field is now, I knew it would be tough and possibly require some interning after graduation. One friend I'd met around here through my inquiry into the profession, not a keeper, but as a keeper friend, was super helpful to my best friend and me to this day. She was excited to help me out, put me in touch with this farmyard animal rescue to intern at after graduation to build up a resume, and even offered to let me live with her for free and helped pay my food and expenses until after graduation, till I got my first keeper job. After a lot of hard work, interviewing and despairing, I finally got an offer from a large accredited zoo, the zoo her friend works at. Now I'm 4 months into it, and I'm wondering if I'm cut out for this. They have me working with penguins and seals. I was initially excited and wondered why more experienced keepers would leave those roles open for a newcomer. I soon found out why. I find fish scales in my hair, clothes, boots, and pockets in places I'd never thought possible. The stench has gotten into my car, home, and everything I own. It's not just hard work and low pay. I expected all of that. Working in the hot sun or pouring rain, heavy lifting, etc. I learned to deal with all that at the farm internship, but I feel like my love of animals has changed somehow. I've grown to resent the animals I work with for ruining my life, even though I care about them and would hate to quit and never see them again. I don't know. When I see how all the other keepers never complain and seem to love the animals unconditionally, it makes me wonder if I don't belong here. I didn't anticipate the toll that feeling disgusted 24/7 would have on my mental health. And I'm sick of hearing about how, oh, there's this trick that gets it off. I've tried all of them. None of it works. I heard 2 keepers in the break room discussing this problem, and one said, oh yeah, such and such was a game changer in keeping the car smelling fresh. Meanwhile, she reeks so strongly of cat dung and urine from 10 feet away that it's making me sick. She stinks. I stink. I kind of want to leave and pursue something else, but I do feel guilty, both for the animals and because my friend sacrificed and helped a lot to get me here. Am I the idiot for throwing her efforts out the window after she paid and helped me out so much at getting my dream job? Not the idiot. It's your life. You tried this and it's not for you. If this person is your friend, they would want you to be happy and help you so you would be happy. If you're unhappy, they should want you to fix that. Further, every day you're taking up the role blocks someone who wants to do this forever. So not quitting would be bad too. Info. Didn't they make you aware of the stench or in any way test your ability to cope with foul smells before hiring you? Thought that was pretty standard these days in this field. My friend was a keeper, and he said it was the easiest way they weed out potential new hires in, as you mentioned, a crowded field among many who look good on paper but can't handle the work. I do think the OP was completely deluded about being a zookeeper though. Did she think, like a 5-year-old, that it was all cuddling fluffy baby animals? She sounds like someone who wants to be a nurse and then is stunned that patients' bodily fluids are involved. You are the idiot. What did you expect working with animals? You're free to quit if it's not for you, but you should have considered it better before you got into it. I'm a teen male. My dad married Ellen 10 years ago. Ellen had 4 kids from her first marriage, 2 boys and 2 girls. I'm not close to any of Ellen's kids. They hated me and my dad for the remarriage. I've been told repeatedly by all of them that I'm not their family, not their brother, not their step-sibling. I'm nothing. As far as they're concerned, I could be mauled by bears and left for dead, and they wouldn't do a darn thing to help me. And this was a direct quote from them. Ellen and I always had this weird relationship where I think she tried to be my mom. I say that because she made small attempts to be something to me, but then most of the time, she was focused on her own kids and dismissing the whole "we're not siblings" thing. This is how they treat me. My dad has always been sort of absent. He works a lot, and that's where his focus is. Ellen's oldest son is now getting married, and Ellen told him I needed to be a groomsman at his wedding. I'm his youngest brother, and I'm part of the family. People will question if he has his brother, future brothers-in-law, and his wife has both of her sisters and his in her bridal party, but I'm not included. He was pretty clear he didn't want to, but Ellen forced the topic enough that he said yes. Ellen had my dad tell me, and I told him I would not be a groomsman at the wedding of someone who hated me. Ellen was freaking out, asking how I could say I won't be my brother's groomsman. I was like, he's not my brother. I told her I didn't know anyone who would say yes to being a part of that when someone else had to force the other person to let them be in the wedding. She told me families are complicated, and this is important. It carried on for a few weeks. I refused to go to a fitting with the other groomsmen, and I've been clear that this is not happening. So Ellen breaks down and tells me her son's wedding needs me, and I need to think of how bad it'll look if I'm not a part of it. I told her I don't give a crap about her son's wedding, that I'm not wanted there, and I will not pretend otherwise. She said I should care as he's my brother. I told her to clean her ears out because someone who doesn't give a crap about me being mauled to death by bears is not going to care if I'm not at his wedding. I told her he's openly denied being anything to me and has made it clear I was never accepted as family, showing he doesn't care if people knows he hates me and wants nothing to do with me. She told me I should at least care enough about her to not crap all over her son's wedding, and my vulgar language is something I need to cut out. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Ellen's kids suck, and Ellen and your dad suck. Ellen for never seeing how her kids treated you, and your dad for being clueless about the whole thing. If Ellen's son didn't want you as his groomsman, and you don't want to be his groomsman, there's no reason to force it. Did anyone ask the groom what he wanted before his mother dictated it? I need to think of how bad it'll look if I'm not a part of it. There we have it. I think she meant, I need to think of how bad she'll look if I'm not a part of it. If I were you, I wouldn't ever attend a gathering where they were invited. However, if they genuinely need you, your brother should ask you to come after making an apology. I agree. It's about how bad she would look to your dad's side of the family. I'm guessing a few of your dad's family are invited. If I was you, I wouldn't even bother going. It doesn't seem like they see you as a family, except when it's for show. Seriously, the groom doesn't like you or want you as a groomsman. You don't like him. Just avoid the whole mess. There is zero need for OP to participate in her scheme to bolster a false reputation that she hasn't earned. Gift the stepbrother and his wife-to-be a can of bear spray with the message, "At least I'm a decent human being. After all the rejection and abuse you put me through, I may not like you, but I don't hope you're mauled and eaten by bears."